Raider Nation, thank you for joining us on the Only Nation podcast, brought to you by the Raider Ramble. My name is Heidi, but you may know me as Kevlar Prom Dress or even Raider Ladybug. I'm here with Raider Homer and T3 Raider Fats. We're ready to talk some Raiders football together.
Always ready to talk Raider football.
I am hopeful to talk Raider football.
Yeah, well,
we'll talk Raider football, but
you might want to start praying.
I'm a praying girl. I can handle that.
Yeah, we're gonna need it. You know, it's not necessarily looking too good, right? I think we were just talking a little while ago. You know, players are already starting to opt out, so
yeah,
it's gonna get rough for the podcast scene.
Well, you know, we're gonna hold up our end of it.
Oh yeah,
yes, we are.
Oh yeah.
All right, today on the show, we've got Raiders news along with a discussion on our newly signed draft picks. Plus, we've finally got real-life football to follow. Training camp has started. For how long, nobody knows.
Right. We would love to hear from you, Raider Nation, so here's how you can get in touch with us. Leave us a message on the Only Nation Podcast voicemail line at 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. Or you can also text us at that number. Our email address is onlynationpod@gmail.com, and we can also be found on Twitter and Instagram at OnlyNationPod. You can also check us out on Facebook and YouTube at the Only Nation Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on your favorite social media account and podcast app. Don't forget to send us a message with your name and address, and we'll get you some free Raider swag sent out to you. Also, check out our new website at onlynationpod.com.
Let's jump into this news, and then we'll be talking training camp a little bit later on. Oh, wait, the first item of news is training camp. The NFL.
Hey, shocker, look at that.
The NFL and the NFLPA reached an agreement addressing health and safety standards, which is allowing training camp to open on time. And today is Tuesday, the 28th. The veterans are finally reporting. They're all lined up getting their COVID testing. I believe they have to have 3 negative tests before they're allowed in the building.
That is correct.
They did the testing off-site. And so it's going to be a very slow start to training camp, even slower than normal. But they are going through with it for right now. Well, like I said, we'll see how long it goes. The training camp rosters, they must be down to 80 players by August 16th. And Mark Davis plans to return to Napa for future training camps, just to keep the Raiders' Northern California roots.
Probably to keep them from melting, too.
Yeah. This year, there was no choice in the matter. The league mandated that all teams do their training camp at their team training facilities. So we are having it in Henderson, Nevada this year at a really, really cool training facility. But all that stuff in the training camp will be building up to the regular season. There will not be any preseason games this year. They have been officially canceled. And as part of the agreement for starting training camps on time, the NFL and the NFLPA agreed that the salary cap next season will probably be lowered. The lowest it can go is $174 million. But right now, the Raiders already have $184 million contracted on the books for next year. So there's going to have to be some cuts.
Or how about some players take some pay cuts?
I don't know.
I'll be addressing all that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, they're going to have to get creative. They still have Tom Delaney there, the salary cap wizard. So I think they'll be able to manage it okay.
Well, despite that, all 7 draft picks have been signed by the Raiders. Awesome. Congratulations, guys. So we'll find out how all that's going to work out. That's, I'm happy for them.
Anything to say about any of them?
Well, I don't know. Not really. I mean, I have some things that I'd like to say, but I'm trying to keep it cool, you know. But,
hey, share your voice.
We don't even know if we're going to see him play.
Yeah.
I was excited. I was very excited for this season. You know, I saw us going 10-6. I saw us on the verge of becoming a competitor year in and year out. But that has all seemingly been put on hold, you know, starting with preseason. Players are opting out left and right now. So I'm curious to see when the first Raider player is going to opt out. And, I wonder if there is, going to be a football season. You two had been talking about there maybe not, I think Heidi, you said we're probably not going to have one, period. And then T3, you said we're going to miss the first 4 games. But for me,
I said shortened or none.
yeah, okay. So for me, it's like, I want to see football. So can we, I guess Raider Nation, give us a call. What you think? Would you be cool seeing some XFL players, come in and play this season? If these other guys can't play, they want to opt out. Regardless, without preseason, we're going to see sloppy football for the first month, if we even play in the first month, right? So if we even play, it's going to be some very sloppy football, which can ruin our season, So if we come out flat and we go 1-3, 0-4, that's it. Season's over because we weren't prepared as a team. I mean, why even play then, right? If you go 0-4, just sit everybody and go for that first round pick. Lose every game you can. I don't know. It just sounds depressing, I guess. But it's just frustrating. It's frustrating to see all this. Of course, I understand the health risks, right? MLB, they tried their season, and now the Marlins, right? They pretty much canceled their season, right? Because they had 19 positive COVID tests. So, I get it. But, there's a lot of people out there. I still got to stand by that. That's something that I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around, is that there are a lot of people out there risking their lives. And this, people are looking for a way to escape, and just to kind of have some kind of normalcy. Is it fair to ask these players to risk their lives like everybody else? I don't know. Depends on, I guess your point of view. Some people say no. I say I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think it makes me a bad person to say, hey, okay, if y'all guys don't want to play, let's see some XFL guys come and play. I'm curious to see if the XFL guys would come and play. They'll be like, oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'll take a chance. I'm curious, Look, I'm listening to the radios here in Texas, right? High schoolers, they want to play. They want to play, especially the seniors. That's for the love of the game. I used to, when I graduated, right, like I used to have dreams of going back into school and playing football because that's how much I missed it. That's why I'm so emotionally involved in it. This is a way for me to kind of relive those years. I don't know what to say now. Mark Davis says, if the fans can't be there, he's not going to be there. That's cool. But I still have questions about PSLs, and I'm going to have Joker Raider on my channel talking about PSLs and what he thinks is going to happen because he has insight on that. He's a PSL holder. There's a lot of questions I'm asking, that don't seem to be getting asked. Everybody's just kind of playing along, going along with their podcasts and their shows, thinking that football's here, breaking down rosters and shit, But me, I'll tell you what, I'm glad that my channel is dedicated to the Raider Nation itself because I can kick back and have a few beers talking to my friends, people that I've met in person, partied with, and gone to watch games with. So it's going to get rough, as far as podcasting, I think.
This is where we can keep it going because with the Raider mystique and the legends and just the aura of the team itself, and not only that, but Raider Nation, we can probably keep our thing going a lot longer than other fan bases. There are other fan bases that if they don't have any football at all, they've got nothing to talk about. We have a whole history to talk about, and a fan base as well, which I think can't be touched. So as long as we keep at it and we keep doing our thing, I think that is exactly what the Raider Nation needs. Not only that, but just the football community at large. And the one thing that we haven't talked about is we've talked about the players opting out, but what we haven't talked about is lots of players who have decided that they want to play, but then what happens if a whole bunch of them get tested and they test positive? Well, now you've got players who have said that they want to play and they've committed to playing, but now very similar to the Miami Marlins in baseball, now they're not able to. So again, that's the other side of the coin. So we talk about player safety. There's no right or wrong answers because again, we're dealing with something that we've never dealt with before. So this is uncharted territory for everyone. So having said that, let's go on to some other news. The Raiders claimed guard Jordan Ruse off waivers from Seattle. So they've added to that offensive line. And this actually reunites Ruse with Tom Cable, who used to be up in Seattle. I know how you feel about Tom Cable, but again, that does add more to the depth on the offensive line, which is a good thing. In other news, linebacker Markel Lee is going to begin the season on the active PUP list, and wide receiver, and I hope I pronounced this right, Siasi Mariner begins on the NFI list.
See, if we do have a season, I predict that Muse will start, because in place of Markel Lee, because you're going to see Kiewatowski, the dude, whatever, right, in the middle, and Littleton on the strong side. And I think Muse is going to very much be able to step in to that weak side linebacker spot. And whatever mental errors he might make, he would be able to recover because of his speed. Like, his speed is going to be able to help him a lot. Help him in that curve, I guess you could say. And I think he's going to be a great player for this team. Being able to he can stay in the base, and then he can stay in, if they play dime or something like that. He can play defensive back. I think that was a great signing. I'm curious to see how it's going to work out.
I could actually see Littleton being the middle, simply based on experience. They might want to give him the green dot just because he's played so much more.
Yeah, but then Kiewatowski, do you trust him on the strong side? He only played I think 8 games in Chicago, right? Came in because of an injury or came in off the bench or whatever, but he only played 8 games as a starter in the middle, I think. I don't think he played a lot on the strong side. Don't give me the line. I could be wrong. But I feel more comfortable with Littleton on the outside.
I think the plan is to give Kwiatkowski the green dot, and then I think they'll probably try Littleton on both sides and see which side he's going to be able to cover more ground on, because he really is a good pass defender, and they're looking at trying to create opportunities for turnovers. So we'll have to wait and see. But I agree with you, Homer. I think that Muse eventually moves into that spot. I will say, when we look at the linebacking depth right now, if you're looking at Morrow, Wilbur, and Markel Lee, I think one of those 3 guys definitely makes the team, but maybe only one of those 3. Maybe one of those 3 guys starts, but then I think Muse moves in pretty quickly, unless they have enough confidence in him in camp to go ahead and take that spot right away.
They were talking to him when they were interviewing him, and they came out and they said it, that, they were asking him questions about playing the position of linebacker and playing the position of safety. So they are thinking of him as a dual threat, as far as a defender. So I think he's definitely going to be in that starting spot. Whether it's day one, whatever, that remains to be seen.
I agree with you. I think maybe they were thinking along the same lines of Simmons. If they had brought Isaiah Simmons in, then that's kind of the hybrid role that they were looking at. So, Muse could fill that role very easily, and I think they have enough confidence in him to where they expect him to move in. Now, how quickly he moves in, I don't know, but I certainly think they expect him to move into that spot.
Yeah, and surprisingly, our linebacking core got some love from, I believe it was PFF. They're still going through the rankings of each position group per team, where they rank in the league. I believe the linebackers were 6th overall, which is incredible.
I think I have a love-hate relationship with PFF right now.
Oh, so do I.
It's kind of a roller coaster with those guys.
Yeah.
Well, I like what they said this time, so this time they're accurate.
Okay. We'll go with that. All right. Now, I was going to talk about a training camp battle within the kicking game, but I decided to throw out that topic and devote everything toward the latest in negotiations within the current CBA. So after weeks of discussions and negotiations, the NFL and NFLPA have agreed to the foundation necessary to play amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The 2 sides came to an agreement Friday afternoon following an NFLPA player representative vote by a count of 29-3 in favor of the proposed changes, the union announced. Thus, the adjusted CBA became official, and training camp commenced in earnest today, July 28th, the day that we're recording this podcast. The NFLPA's executive committee voted unanimously to approve the changes proposed by the NFL owners early Friday. The NFL clubs and the NFL Players Association approved an agreement that broadly resolves all outstanding issues relating to the opening of training camps and start of the 2020 season, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said in a statement. Training camps will begin as scheduled. So that was a statement made on Friday. We will have worked collaboratively to develop a comprehensive set of protocols designed to minimize risk for fans, players, and clubs, as well as league personnel. These plans have been guided by the medical directors of the NFL and the NFLPA and have been reviewed and endorsed by independent medical and public health experts, including the CDC and many state and local public health officials. The season will undoubtedly present new and additional changes, but we're committed to playing a safe and complete 2020 season, culminating with the Super Bowl. The agreed-upon deal includes an allowance for 16-man practice squads, high-risk and voluntary opt-outs of participation, and the absence of a preseason for 2020, NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reported. Now, for players who opt out of participating, high-risk candidates will receive a $350,000 stipend, and their contract will toll, per Pelissero. Voluntary opt-outs will receive a $150,000 salary advance, and their contract will toll as well. Opt-outs are due within 7 days of the deal being finalized. Now, I'll try to make this kind of to go through and not hit every point, but I think some of the salient points are things that people are interested in. All the CDC's defined increased risk categories, e.g. moderate to severe asthma, sickle cell disease, type 2 diabetes, etc., are covered as high risk under the deal, with the exception of high BMI. According to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, training camp is set to be comprised of 20 days of a ramp-up period and a maximum of 14 padded practice days. The players wanted a full ramp-up of about 3 weeks. The NFL offered 18 days, Rappaport said on the NFL Network. What they settled on now is on the 21st or 20th day, almost 3 weeks but not quite, with a couple of off days in there. Teams are allowed to have padded practice. So what you'll see is a couple of weeks of strength and conditioning only after players get tested. Yes, football players are going to be in the buildings coming this weekend. It's going to be great. We're going to be talking about it. We're just going to keep our fingers crossed. Now, in the event that financial losses are not as great as anticipated this year, the cap will be higher in 2021 than the $175 million that they've already projected. Setting a floor simply provides clubs with a baseline with which they can plan financially. The anticipation of a shortfall could produce a muted free agency period in 2021, Rappaport said. Now, the bottom line here is that rosters have to be trimmed down to 80 players by August 16th. So we have a couple of weeks, and then they'll make the initial cut down. No more than 80 players are allowed in the building at one time. So there's a lot of things ongoing here, but I went down into and looked at overthecap.com. Now, right now, the Raiders have $30 million in cap space in 2021. Now, if it gets lowered to $20 million, which means they take that off, let's just step back and take a look. Your current rookie draft class eats up about half of that. By comparison, in 2021, the Philadelphia Eagles already are $54 million in the red. The New Orleans Saints are $34 million in the red. The Falcons are already $7 million in the red. The Chiefs right now only have $10 million in cap space. So if it drops $10 million next year, the Chiefs will be right basically in the red. So these are all things to keep a lookout for. I didn't hit all the points, but I wanted to go through some of these because there's a lot of complex things to consider and some things that we definitely need to keep an eye on over the next few days.
Thank you very much for your insight.
Absolutely.
That's a lot to process.
Yeah, that's nerdy.
Yeah, it is.
It is nerdy, but I'm a nerd, so I don't mind thinking about stuff like that.
And I reduced down what I was going to say.
See, T3's nerdy too. T3 and I are friends because we're both nerds and we both appreciate each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're also dog people.
Yes. Very much dog people.
Yeah.
My dog is just sitting here watching us record, waiting to bark.
Hi, puppy.
Anyways, T3, thank you. And why don't you lead us into Heidi's High Five?
Okay, here is this week's version of Heidi's High Five. Number one guy I want everyone to keep an eye on in training camp is running back Devontae Booker. Booker's best NFL season was his first in 2016, in which he rushed 174 times for 612 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's yet to take the next step in what was once a promising career, though, appearing in all but 3 games over the next 3 seasons and failing to break 500 combined rushing yards in that span. With 105 career receptions and 872 receiving yards, Booker could continue to develop his pass-catching skills and continue to increase his value to not only the Raiders, but just to running backdom in general. I see him making the roster and becoming that guy that the Raiders lean on in the absence of number 28. Number 2, another guy I want everyone to watch out for is also a running back, free agent signee William Stanback. Stanback is intriguing because he's coming off a great season in the Canadian Football League where he was a CFL All-Star for the Montreal Alouettes. He had 1,093 rushing yards on 170 carries in 2019. In 2018, he was solid as a CFL rookie with 539 yards. He played college ball at Central Florida and then went on to small Virginia Union. CFL success, however, does not necessarily mean that Stanback will be a good NFL player or even be good enough to make a regular season roster. Many players have started in the CFL with only a small percentage having big success in the NFL, but the Raiders saw enough of Stanback to give him a chance. He was previously signed by Green Bay as an undrafted free agent in 2017, but was cut before the season started. And if you haven't seen the video yet of him blowing up a Rutgers defensive back when he was at Central Florida, you need to check it out. I believe in this guy. Number 3, I've mentioned this before, but I worry about Jonathan Abram. Now, I love his determination, his work ethic, and his swagger, but what I worry about is that he's going to come in and go hard to live up to all that hype and potential that's been heaped upon his shoulders. I want to see him just settle in, work with his teammates, because this is a whole new cast for him this year, and become the player we all feel he's going to become. But make no mistake, this is still kind of like his rookie year, so he will make rookie mistakes. Number 4, I know John Gruden likes Nate Peterman, but I wish that we would just call an end to this experiment. Install Lynn Bowden Jr. as the number 3 emergency quarterback and also build some packages around him and give him a few snaps this year. I feel like the Raiders need to draft a quarterback next year anyway. Nate Peterman may catch on with another team, and he may be good. I just don't see it in Las Vegas. Enough already. Number 5, I'm issuing a challenge to our listeners. Throw me a bone here. Pitch an idea for something we can use on this segment, and we'll give you a shout-out, and we'll make sure to send you a nice piece of Only Nation podcast swag, because we're not above bribery here, folks. Call the number. Make sure you indicate that this is for Heidi's High Five. So here's the number again, 904-701-8667. Leave us a voicemail or text your name and message. Homer's going to mention the number again a little later in the show, but we want to hear from you. 904-701-8667. Program it into your phone now. And that is this week's version of Heidi's High Five.
Awesome. Great job, as always. Now, I didn't actually put anything down on the spreadsheet for NFL discussion, but things have happened today, and Homer already touched on them, about players opting out. How do you guys see that affecting the season? The Patriots already had 6 players opt out. A couple of them very big name players. For one, do you think the Patriots are finding a new way to tank so they can get their quarterback next year? And 2, do you think we're going to have a season at all?
All right. Well, as I had mentioned early on, and I thought the NFL should have gone ahead and canceled the first 4 games of the season right off and said we need to wait this thing out a little bit more. I applaud them for trying to get the season started and trying to get things underway. I really do. But I think just like so many school systems and so many states, I think the priority was to get things going as quickly as possible without any regard and any full plan in place. So having said that, and the way things are going now, I'm not sure that the first 4 games is all that will be canceled. It may be the first 8. So we may be looking at maybe only half a season. And again, that's going to piss a lot of people off. That's going to make a lot of people unhappy. And it's going to really throw the season into a quandary as far as the playoffs go. And you're going to have asterisks all over the place because you're going to have teams qualifying for the playoffs who probably wouldn't normally qualify. And maybe some team like Tampa Bay or Cleveland or maybe Jacksonville or Detroit winning the Super Bowl. Who knows? But, we'll just have to wait and see how this goes. But I think at least we lose the first 4 weeks.
Here's one angle that I haven't heard anybody talk about yet. Do you see it shortened because we started on time, but something happens that it ends early?
That's a possibility. In that case, I'm not sure what you do about declaring a champion. I'm not sure you really can.
I don't think you could.
You may have to just do what they did in 1994 with Major League Baseball. Just stop it and chop it and say, okay, that's that. And just call the year a dead year. That may be what we have to do. And maybe the NFL's looking at that. Maybe they'll say, hey, we'll go as long as we can go and then just say enough.
Yeah, anything that they can earn some of their money back. And, some teams are, as of right now, going to be allowed to have fans in the stadium. It's going to depend on the state and what the team themselves has decided. Merchandise, all these new rookies, players like Tom Brady switching teams, Gronkowski switching teams. They all have new jerseys. There are a lot of people that follow the player, not the team. So merchandise, they can make a lot of money off of that. If the stadiums are closed, obviously they're not going to make money off of concessions, but there's different ways where they could approach it, where they could still recoup some of their money, and we don't have a season, in essence. I could see that happening as well.
What about the fans, though? I mean, I feel bad for the people that bought tickets on the secondary market for marked up prices that aren't going to be able to go to these games. I know, say, player safety, that makes sense, but, everybody deserves safety at this point in time. But the major concern is if the NFL is worried about recouping their money, then they should be concerned about their fans getting their money back. Don't forget, as fans, we are the backbone of this league. All right? They don't have a league without us. So make sure your fans are taken care of. Like I said, I've been a strong supporter of Mark Davis, but don't just say I'm not going to go to the stadium. Come out and say I'm giving all y'all guys money back. I'm giving my guys their money back because this is ridiculous. The NFL is telling me we can't do this, we can't do that. I'm giving y'all guys money back. And then the people that bought it on the secondary market for twice as much, maybe sometimes 3 times as much, make sure they get their money back too. All that fine print, no. And give it back to them now, right? Like, people need money. How many of the evictions are coming around now? All right? So give it back now. All right? Look, I canceled my league pass and I canceled my direct TV instead of renewing, right? Because I'm not going to spend $200 a month for 8 games. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it for 12 either.
Or all that money to watch Jacksonville and Tampa Bay from 2018.
Keep watching reruns. That's what I mean. If you're going to put an inferior product on the field, which is what it is now, without preseason, this is an inferior product. Make it free. It's free. This year's free. If you do play, it's free to the fan. We're going to give all your money back, and we're going to air it on TV. We're not going to black out anything. No, it's just every game's going to be aired. If you want to select, you can go. And because, look, if these bars are still closed at this point in time, you have to buy from DirecTV. There is only one place to go to watch your games, your out-of-market games. And are they offering any discounts? I haven't heard anybody talk about that. All I've seen on NFL Network is reruns.
Yeah, and if this had been a situation of management versus players, a labor strike or strife, as it would be, I think there would be much more concern about the fans turning on the game. But since this is an unprecedented situation, this is something we've never, ever faced before, I think just like the players came together last week and made the statement.
We need to come together as fans.
Well, I think the owners need to come together as owners. They've never wanted to be willing to give up money. We know that. They don't want to give up money. But
or the players. Players aren't going to give up money either.
This may be the time when the owners need to say, well, we need to step up together as a unified ownership and make that statement to save the game. Because I think this is where they can really step up and do that.
I mean, it's Heidi, you're talking about people chasing jerseys. Like, man, I'm glad I quit buying jerseys, from player. I only buy my custom jerseys. I bought my daughter's jersey with the name on it. It's a Raider jersey with our name on it.
Throwbacks, baby. Throwbacks.
Or throwbacks.
Hall of Famers. Bo Jackson. I know he's not in the Hall of Fame, but
I
that's
got his
the next one I
autograph jersey
want.
right there next to me. People that, played the game and contributed, for more than just money. Because, I get the feeling that, T3, you might think that the owners are the big villain. I don't know if that's necessarily accurate, but the players are no different than these owners trying to make money.
No, I get it. And I would encourage people to go out and talk to people like Jim Brown, Gale Sayers, Phil Villapiano, guys who played the game because they loved it. Jim Otto, guys who just love football, and that's what they wanted to do. And they understood that they weren't going to be multimillionaires and they weren't going to be able to do this forever, but they had passion for the game. Talk to them about what they would.
And a lot of those guys aren't getting any money now.
Right.
If you talk, I've interviewed them. They're not really getting a bunch of money.
Right.
They played because they loved the game.
Exactly.
And today's players, I don't know that they necessarily have that same passion. Yeah, of course, they like to play football and they want to play football and they train hard and all that, but I don't know, man.
You hear it all the time. At some point, it stopped becoming a game and started becoming a business.
Yeah, but that's why, people make fun of Derek Carr supporters, right? I love Derek Carr. Yes, he doesn't win as much as we all want him to, but the guy wants to be a Raider for life, all right? That is important to me. As a fan that's been watching this team lose since 1990, it's important to me, a player like that. And he gets shit on, by a lot of the fans. A lot of the other podcasts out there, and probably some other players. Those are the kind of players that we need leading this league. Players like that care about the fans and care about the team itself, man. Look, man, like I said, I'm risking my life every day. We can't do anything in this world without electricity. You need electricians to maintain that. Imagine if we all stayed together and said, hey, we ain't gonna go out there. Y'all would be pissed off, I'm just saying, I don't know. It's confusing. Right now, I
wish that there were some solid
cannot see
answers.
myself paying for this.
And I would say that you're probably in the majority, not the minority.
Well, the NFL, in my mind, is at risk of going back to the Stone Age of the NFL existence, when baseball was America's game. That's how I'm seeing it.
Well, I think this thing that happened this week in the last couple of days with the Miami Marlins in Major League Baseball has been kind of a wake-up call for the NFL. And now that they've gotten that wake-up call and you've got players opting out, and again, you haven't even had many players that have tested yet. When you go through the testing, let's see what happens. Let's see how the NFL reacts if Russell Wilson tests positive or if Patrick Mahomes tests positive. Guarantee you'll see some action then. If one of their major stars either opts out or tests positive, you'll see some action. I guarantee it.
That's coming. I guarantee that's coming. Somebody like that's going to opt out.
Or test positive.
Yeah, but you say how many days? 7 days from now, from the 28th?
That's right, 28th. Yeah, 7 days.
Okay, it's going to happen. I think that a bunch of them are going to start opting out. Because of the Marlins situation. That it's gonna happen. I can see it coming already. That's why I'm already wondering, can we see XFL players come in and take over or take these vacated spots?
Right now, I would watch third string high school as long as it's live football.
Yeah,
damn right.
I think that's what they did during the one of the previous strikes, where they actually started putting high school games on, and they did pretty well.
I'm cool with that.
That is, if the high schools can play either. This is not one of those situations where we have a labor dispute and say, okay, we're just going to start showing college games and high school games. This affects everybody all the way across the board.
Except for the essential workers.
Well, that's true.
And we love you, essential workers, and we know you have gotten screwed through all this. But I, for one, am very grateful for you.
Every day.
And on that note, please give us a call at 904-701-8667. Leave us a voicemail or a text message at that number. Or send us a message via social media, and we'll share your thought.
All right.
We'll send you some magnets.
And stickers. And other
stickers.
Raider stuff. I got other Raider stuff, too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's the other thing. We were talking about players' jerseys. Like, I'm fixing to start spending my money more on the Raider Nation merchandise that's out there. The 4-dub hat, jr60brands.com. I'm fixing to start buying more of this stuff. That's what I want. I want to support the Raider Nation, the people out there that are giving up everything and still sacrificing, risking their lives and their families' lives to go to work. That's the Raider Nation, baby. Salute to those people. Support the Raider Nation out there that's selling merchandise, man, and show them how, you'll share with them your love for the team. And then, man, that's what I mean. Rep that. Rep the Raider Nation. The fans. The fans got to stick together right now.
And here's a shout out for DC4L Custom Tees. They are not exclusively Raiders, but they have printed most of our merchandise, and they're great. If you have an idea for a t-shirt or a poster or anything that you want, just write them, give Dan a message, tell him what you're looking for, and he'll mock it up and put it on a t-shirt for you. Obviously, you have to pay for it, but prices are really reasonable, and he's really good. So DC4L Custom Tees, they're on Twitter, Facebook. They have a website. The designer, though, is Dan, and he's awesome.
And remember this, just stating the obvious, players may change teams, but Raider Nation, we only know two colors.
Silver and black.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why I dedicated my channel to the Raider Nation, because, Wayne's been doing it for 30 plus years. Think about that. Think about how many players have come and gone. Big name players, no name players. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been there this whole time. I don't know, man. I just feel bad for the Raider Nation right now. That's how I'm looking at it. Because we've been hit by this. We've been affected by this. We've all been shut down, man. We have events, get-togethers, concerts, all that got shut down, man. We had more than just this football team. We have a family, that we're not able to go out there and see. So make sure you show some love to them.
Yeah. All right, Homer, did you know?
All right, this week's version of Hey Homer, Did You Know? Now, we've all seen time and again the footage of the immaculate reception with Terry Bradshaw throwing that miraculous fourth down touchdown pass. But did you know that there was a strong chance
drop? It touched the ground.
Yes, it touched the ground.
It touched the ground.
Yeah, but did you know that there was a strong chance that Bradshaw could have been the Raiders' starting quarterback? Well, here's the story. In 1970, the Steelers weren't very good, and Bradshaw was the number one overall pick in that draft. The plan was for the Steelers to trade Bradshaw to the Raiders in exchange for Marv Hubbard and a first-round pick the following year. And I'll remind everyone that the Raiders' first-round pick in 1971 was none other than Jack Tatum. Anyway, Lou Spadia, the general manager of the 49ers, did not want a hot young quarterback prospect residing just across the bay. So he put pressure on a good friend of his from World War II, who just happened to be working in the Steelers organization, and convinced him not to make any deals with the Raiders. So if not for a personal vendetta by the GM of the 49ers, Bradshaw might have been a Raider, Marv Hubbard might have been the Steelers' workhorse running back, and they might not have drafted Franco Harris as a result. And oh, by the way, Jack Tatum, perish the thought, might have been a Pittsburgh Steeler. So I asked Homer, did you know?
That's scary. Really scary.
But I thought it was Al Davis that, you said that, right? That Al Davis set all that in motion?
Al Davis set that in motion, yes.
Yeah, because he recommended that they start Terry Bradshaw.
No, this is before that. He recommended that they start Bradshaw in 74. This is when Bradshaw actually came to Davis and said, "Can you get me out of here?" But this is even before that. This was right after Bradshaw was drafted. So all this happened before the Immaculate Reception, before all that stuff happened. I think things that you're referencing actually happened in 1974 or 73-74 season when they brought another quarterback in, and Bradshaw was actually put on the bench.
And good old me told him, "Why don't you start that Terry Bradshaw?"
Right.
That's a poor Al Davis impersonation.
A for effort, dude.
In order to do a true Al Davis impersonation, and I know that I don't normally do this for the sake of the podcast and the listeners, but there's 2 words you have to use whenever you do an Al Davis impersonation, and those 2 words are, oh, fuck. Apparently, those are his 2 most favorite words in the English language.
Well, I understand that he used them freely.
Yes.
My mother would not have been pleased if I brought him home for dinner one day. That brings us to our last segment, Heidi's Heroes.
There's the
music. One week we're going to have to leave that in instead of me actually dubbing in the music.
And
Maybe
we sing
should do
along
that
with
this week.
You have the final say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should do that this week. Just to make it a little interesting.
It's your call. This is your segment. It's got your name on it.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 segments that have my name on it. I'm just that special. Let me believe it. I know I'm not, but just let me believe it.
Okay, you go ahead.
All right. For the first time in this show, we have a repeat champion. Last week, Max Crosby was my hero because of his work with the Athletes Doing Good Radiothon, raising funds for a children's hospital. This week, it's for what he said he plans to do with the money from his second contract. We've already established that I am an animal lover, but you may not know that Max is one too. Max and his girlfriend have 3 beloved pets. Those pets are pit bulls. He plans on opening a pit bull rescue when he has the funds to do so, which at the rate he's going, he'll easily be able to do when he signs his second contract. He said, personality-wise, I feel like from the outside, a lot of people think I'm angry. Everybody goes, Mad Max. He's the big bad son of a bitch. On the field, that's what I am. I play my ass off. I don't take crap from anybody, and that's how I play. But as the person off the field, I'm a big teddy bear. I talk to everybody. I try to be cool with everyone. I try to have great relationships with people. I'm just a soft-spoken, good person. That's who I try to be, and that's how I feel like I am. And that's how the pit bulls are. They get this rap. People say all these things. They've got lockjaw, which is a myth. That's not even true. And also that that they're fighting dogs and blah, blah, blah. But that's just not what they are. Some dogs are raised like that, and they're forced into doing that. That's not what they want to do. That's not what the majority of pit bulls are like. They're misrepresented, and I take it personally because I've got 3 of them. I just want to show people that they're actually great dogs. Max wants to show people that pit bulls are loving and can be good family dogs. He says, they're not just these crazy, off-tempered kind of dogs. I want to show people that they're great dogs, and that will definitely be a part of my plan. It's getting to show people how they really are. Now, whether you agree with his stance on pit bulls or not, there's no doubt that someone who wants to rescue animals is doing a noble task.
That's awesome because my Austin chapter of the Black Hole, we were going to have a meet and greet, and hopefully we can still have it. But we were going to invite Raider Deadpool to come down and be the guest of honor because he has pit bulls and he adopted them from Texas Pit Crew. And we were going to do a fundraiser for Texas Pit Crew, which is like a shelter that saves animals or that saves pit bulls from euthanasia. And then, they work on educating people about pit bulls and things like that. And so that's kind of cool that Mad Max is, into pit bulls and this segment came on. Hopefully we can still have that event because I like to do some things like that to give back to the community and, not just the community, but animals. Like we've talked about animals in the past. Every dog that I've owned, I just kind of, rescued it from somebody else, or I've adopted it from somebody else and never bought an animal. And I love having dogs because they're good protectors and they're man's best friend, so way to go, Mad Max.
My dog cowers at the sight of people, but she sounds scary. She looks scary. That's effective enough. But she's like me. She's a big, soft teddy bear underneath it all.
And I think Max is worthy of this honor as a repeat.
I think so too. He's my hero for this week. Again.
Now we just got to get him on the show.
Work on that, dude. Work on it. All right. Thanks again to our listeners for joining us on the Only Nation podcast.
Be sure to give us a call at 904-701-8667. We want to hear from you, Raider Nation. We want to know how y'all feel about this. Give us y'all's opinions on what this season could be, how you see it unfolding, how you feel about preseason. Give us a call. Let us know how you feel. You can also email us at theonlynationpod@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at onlynationpod. You can message us or tag us on Instagram at onlynationpod. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Only Nation Podcast. And we're also on Facebook under The Only Nation Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to all your favorite social media account and podcasting apps. And don't forget to send us a message with your name and address, and we'll get some free Raider swag sent out to you. Did you just copy and paste that?
Yeah. A lot of it's the same from the opening. It's easier that way. That way I don't have to think.
Okay, thanks. Also, check out our new website on theonlynationpod.com.
Until next time, everyone, go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Stick with us, Raider Nation, because we're here for you regardless of what happens.
Raider Nation for life.
Raiders.